r/AskReddit, what was that one thing you tried out due to fear of missing out? FOMO. I was hanging with friends at a bar, and accidentally sat down at the wrong table, really dark inside, started talking to those guys. Long story short, one of them was getting married on Saturday, and he invited me to come. The other one was his officiant/future BIL, so I went. It was at the bride's parents' house, so I only knew my bar buddies. It was a lot of fun though. I was glad I went. A snobby chick at the reception was like, "Oh, do you crash weddings often?" "No," I replied, puzzled. "I do go when I'm invited by the groom, though." The marriage didn't last terribly long, but I'm friends with the bride on the FB now. I asked a girl that works at the pet store by my house if she had a boyfriend this week. She does, but I knew I'd never forgive myself if I didn't ask. I said, "Oh, he's a lucky guy," and moved on. I've been too afraid to ask before, and that sucks. When I was a kid, the cool, older neighbor kids, also young kids, told me to eat grass. I of course didn't want to, so they told me they all did and I would be cool if I did. So I picked a big handful and ate it while everyone laughed at me. Afterwards it came out that none of them had, in fact, ate any grass at all, and, as it turns out, none of us knew what would happen if one were to eat grass. So I ran home where my old man was in the backyard spraying something with a garden hose or some shit. I said, "Hey Dad, what would happen if somebody ate a big handful of grass?" He replied, absolutely deadpan, "Tell me you didn't eat grass." I said, "Well no, but somebody else did and I was just." He said, "Gristle, tell me you didn't eat grass." Tears started welling up and I said, "Well, I was running real fast and I fell, and when I fell my mouth landed on a clump of grass and my mouth closed on it and I accidentally swallowed a whole bunch of it and, am I gonna die?" He said, "Probably, but go in and drink as much water as you can stand and then I will take you to the hospital." I ran inside and drank as much water as I could and rushed out to the van where the old man was waving me into the open door. We flew out of the neighborhood, screaming towards the hospital while I cried in the back seat. Finally, we got to the liquor store down the street from the hospital where the old man said, "Nah, I'm just messing with you, you'll be fine," and he went in and bought beer and we drove home. I went to Easter Island. I was already in Santiago for work when I learned that it was the only place that sent flights there. I figured it was as close as I'd ever be, and I didn't know if or when I'd ever revisit Santiago, so I took the leap and did it. Totally worth it. Ziplines. I have a fear of heights, so I was very nervous about going on them in North Carolina with my friends. They were so supportive though, talking about how, "It's okay, you don't have to go, we understand," or "Of course you don't have to, I just think you would actually enjoy it." It was because they were so nice about it I really didn't want to disappoint them. I had an absolute blast on them, by the way. So much fun after the first 5 seconds of terror on the first line, haha. For my 30th birthday I tried 30 new things. The list included a pedicure and manicure, fancy Starbucks drink, driving a red Porsche, gambling at the casino. It was a crazy fun day, but I learned that I have a great life without all that stuff. Paragliding in Interlaken. I still have a fear of heights, but all my friends were doing it, so I just had to join. I joined my friends in auditioning for the musical in senior year of high school because I just happened to be friends with a lot of theater kids. Ended up with a supporting role including a duet and a decent amount of lines. I still consider it one of the best decisions I ever made. It was a crazy amount of fun. Ate 10 ants to join my brother's club in first grade. Said I could only join if I ate 10 ants, so I did, and then he disbanded the club. One of those muddy races, got a skin infection and sun poisoning. Skateboarding. I have some friends who know how to skate, try to teach me, but I just wasn't good at it. Too bad, because I think skateboarding is really fucking cool. Not taking a single day off from work. I have a physical copy of Super Mario 3D All Stars. It's fun, and I didn't grow up with these games, so playing them for the first time was a neat experience. I just don't know if I needed to actually buy it. When I was on my honeymoon on an Alaskan cruise, my wife really wanted to try zip lining. Unfortunately my weight was a little bit above what their suggested max weight is for safety, so instead of staying in town or just hanging out, I went on a walk. I saw a tiny river coming down from the mountain and I decided I wanted to go see that river. I thought to myself that if I don't do this now there will never be another chance in my life I've ever seen this, so I walked through the town, walked through the forest, and up the mountain and found that river. It was such a life-altering moment sitting there and breathing in the idea that I just went and found a river in the middle of nowhere. The entire world looked like a painting. When I realized what time it was I started to walk back and ended up getting lost on the mountain. I ran into a hiker by chance and he guided me back down the mountain. I tried to find my way back down from where he left me, and met another person who let me into his house and showed me the way through town, even giving me a coffee to go from his own coffee pot. I walked back into town feeling physically exhausted after walking for about 4 or 5 hours, and it was probably one of the most beautiful things I have ever done. At the time I was doing a journalistic webcomic about my life and I ended up trying watercolor for the first time in my life to color the story, because I felt since I tried something so out of my norm and wheelhouse by venturing up into a mountain I might as well try doing art in a different fashion too. This might not make the greatest hits of this thread, but it absolutely changed my life. Smoking, I guess. I got curious. First time I hated it, after a few more, I started to like it, so I decided to throw the rest away before it was too late. Tinder, it's meh. Unfortunately it's becoming the only option and I only use it because of this. Gambling, I lost $70 and had a lot of fun. Not sure I wanna lose $70 anytime again soon though. Bought a $20 raffle ticket for a much hyped up chance to win $5,000. Turns out the raffle promoters were scammers and everyone lost their money. Anything with stocks, FOMO will kill you. About 25 years ago I believed every chain letter that appeared in my inbox, and religiously sent them along to all my contacts. In my defense, I was a kid, but still, there's probably a lot of people from that time that have me blocked for this very reason. Going to South Africa, I was in school, Wild Park Management, with my best friend. Our year got the offer to go to SA with people from other classes but there was only place for 24 people. I have never been further away from home than a 6-hour drive and SA is a 12-hour flight away. My thought was, if I don't go now, I will never ever go. I went. Now I want to go back, but dang the first time in an airport is stressful. Prom, hated it, knew I would, glad I went anyway. Donuts from a hipster bakery, worth it? Vaping, I have asthma so after about a week of bronchitis type coughing keeping me up at night I decided that even though I enjoyed it, I'd rather not be dead in a month. Edit, in my situation I already knew that I don't respond well to smoking/vaping. My dad smoked and my ex vaped. Within minutes after being near them I'd be having a coughing fit. I used the low nicotine blue vapes, they actually weren't harsh on the throat at the time. Trying to get PS5 at launch. I had no idea it would be this much of a shit show. Friend in college wanted us to drive up to a party at a campus about an hour away. It was already 12:30 at night. We'd hung out with her friends from that school before and didn't particularly like them, so we turned her down. She eventually goaded us into going, mentioning that 5 of our close friends were already on their way up there. She just couldn't fit in the car with them, and saying, "Dude, it's a yacht party. Have you ever partied on a yacht? It belongs to rich friend. It's going to be small, like 15 people max, top shelf alcohol, tons of high quality smoke, lots of other party substances, and it's free. You don't have to buy or pay for anything. She's got a huge house we can crash at. I'll even gas up your car." So of course we set out. We arrive and there is no yacht. There is no body of water period. In fact, it's the biggest frat party I've ever seen. Hundreds of people. We each had to pay $30 to get in. Nobody we knew was there, and she spent all of her money on getting into the party, so I didn't even get my car gassed up like she promised. Tried to cover her ass by saying no, I definitely said frat party, not yacht party. You must have misheard me, bitch. We definitely heard you right. Ended up having a lousy time at the frat itself but found a small group of people that were heading back to their off-campus housing to smoke and invited us to come along. That ended up being a somewhat enjoyable time, at least. After that we never trusted Lisa again. Anal, hated it, tried it again, just confirm, still hated it, at least I confirmed it though. Swimming in the deep end of the pool. As a teenager I went to a graduation party at a pool. The deep end was 12 feet, I wound up even jumping in off the diving board. I'm glad I did it. Starbucks unicorn drink a few years ago, met. I regret not trying enough things and fear I did miss out. My college years and early 20s were wasted because my ex-husband wouldn't allow me to attend any parties, go out to bars with friends, or do anything without him basically. One time I tried to go to a haunted house with friends after work. He gave me permission to go, but when the line took too long he made me get out of line and come home. Another time I tried to go to a drag show with friends after work, which didn't start until midnight. So when I got home at 2 a.m. he screamed at me for hours saying he thought I was dead and accusing me of cheating. Eventually I quit trying to do anything with anyone. I wasted so much of my life living under someone else's thumb. It makes me incredibly angry to think about it. Some college roommates took me clubbing. I have an attitude that as long as something isn't harmful, I need to force myself to try it at least once, because I'm an introvert, and otherwise I just never do shit. In this case, I ended up absolutely hating it. Every part of it was awful. Oh well, at least I can say I gave it a shot. Tragically hip concert a few years ago. I dislike crowds and concerts in general, but I'm glad I went. Reddit. Bought GME at $300. Hugs. My family isn't big on hugging, but when I went away to college I made friends with a bunch of huggers during my first semester. I made it clear that I wasn't a hugger, and people respected that, but it still became a running joke amongst my friends that I hate hugs, and we all made a thing out of people trying to hug me and me running from it. I actually enjoyed that sort of game with my friends. When we all met up again after winter break, everyone else was hugging each other hello, and I realized I felt left out, so I started hugging everyone as well. Now I don't necessarily initiate hugs, but I don't decline them like I used to. Smoking weed. I didn't like it, but at least I can say I tried it. A standing desk. What was I thinking? Now I have this thing I don't want to use and nowhere to put it because it's so big and awkward and wastes all the space on my desk. Coffee. Clubs. It turns out crowds, loud music, and standing up all night doesn't do it for me. Became a music producer for film and TV at 41 years old. Played music with bands growing up. Became high school media arts teacher and got to practice my skills almost daily. Realized I wanted to see if I was good enough to make something out of it all. Busted my ass learning as much as I could about the business. Fast forward 15 months. Now partnered with 4 libraries from Toronto to California. Collaborated with musicians from 3 different continents. Written and produced over 100 songs for film and TV. Kinda cool trajectory for a year and a half. Fear of missing out can easily be replaced with someone's gonna do it, why not me? Animal Crossing. Have not played for over 6 months. Dragged my girlfriend, now wife, to see Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li in the theater. I was convinced that it was going to be one of those you had to see it in theaters movies. It was not. 15 years later and she still brings it up. Thanks for watching. Comment suggestions for any future videos and make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any more good content. I upload daily videos from r/AskReddit, and if you liked the video, make sure to like the video.